What if I told you that the moment you look at your grandchild and their name doesn't come, that 3-second silence has nothing to do with weakness or aging? And I know what most people do. They feel ashamed. They hide it. And nobody ever explains what that moment is actually measuring. Here is what they should have told you. That silence is a specific neurological signal, and Stanford researchers identified in 2026 exactly what it means and a 5-minute daily practice that addresses it directly. Stay with me. Before we dive in, if you have not subscribed yet, I strongly recommend you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification. That way you will never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video and find it helpful, please type the number 1 in the comments below. And if you feel like I could do better or cover something differently, type 0. I read every single comment and I genuinely use your feedback to make this content more useful for you. There is a moment that grandparents over 65 fear more than almost anything else. It is not a diagnosis. It is not a hospital visit. It is quieter than both of those and heavier. You are looking at the face of someone you love more than anything in this world. Someone you held when they were hours old. Someone whose first steps you watched. Someone whose middle name you chose. And their name just is not there. It lasts 3 seconds, sometimes 5. And in that silence, a fear moves through you that is unlike anything you expected to feel at this point in your life. And then the name comes, and you breathe, and you tell yourself it was nothing, and you do not mention it to anyone. I want to ask you something directly, and I want you to be honest with yourself as you answer. Has that silence happened to you? Not necessarily a grandchild's name, any name, a close friend, a neighbor you have known for 20 years, a sibling, a moment where the name simply was not where you expected it to be. Drop something in the comments. You do not need to say whose name it was. Just tell me, has it happened? Because what the science I'm about to share tells us is that you are not alone in this, and more importantly, that something can be done about it starting this week. Here is the truth that most people in your position never hear, because most doctors do not tell it, and it is only now entering the peer-reviewed literature in a form clear enough to act on. When you struggle to retrieve a name, specifically a proper name, the name of a person rather than the name of a thing, your brain is not experiencing a general memory failure. It is experiencing a very specific failure in a very specific neurological pathway. And that pathway, according to research published in January 2026 by the Tsai Neuroscience Institute at Stanford University, is the same pathway where the earliest measurable changes associated with Alzheimer's disease appear, sometimes years before any other cognitive symptom. The study, led by researcher Tsai and colleagues and published in Alzheimer's and Dementia, examined 59 cognitively normal older adults with an average age of 75. These were people without any cognitive diagnosis, people who would pass a standard memory screening at their doctor's office. The researchers used advanced PET imaging to measure the accumulation of tau protein in specific brain regions. Tau is the same protein that accumulates in Alzheimer's disease, and what they found was direct and specific. The adults with greater tau accumulation in the entorhinal cortex and the ventral temporal cortex were the same adults who performed worst on proper name retrieval tasks. The worse the tau accumulation in those regions, the harder proper names were to recall. The Wisconsin Registry for Alzheimer's Prevention confirmed this independently. In a separate study of 396 cognitively normal older adults using tau PET imaging, the same association emerged. Tau accumulation in specific cortical regions predicted proper name retrieval difficulties independently of every other memory marker they measured. Proper name memory was the most sensitive signal to early tau pathology in the entire battery of tests they administered. This is the science. It is peer-reviewed, published in leading journals, and it is telling us something specific and actionable. Now, before I go any further, I need to say something directly and clearly. Difficulty with names does not mean you have Alzheimer's disease. This research studied people without any cognitive diagnosis. What it means is that name retrieval is one of the earliest and most sensitive signals your brain is capable of producing. Think of it as an early warning system. And early warning systems exist for exactly one reason, so that you can act before something becomes a crisis. That is exactly what this episode is about. And here is where this channel exists for you. Not to alarm you, not to send you home with nothing. To show you the science and then hand you a tool. If you have found value in what we are building here, real science translated into something you can actually use, this is a good moment to hit subscribe if you have not already, and to share this video with someone in your family who needs to hear it. Not because we need the views, but because the research we cover here reaches people who genuinely need it. Every share is someone else's early warning, and that is worth something. Now let me explain the mechanism, because once you understand why names are uniquely difficult, the 5-minute protocol I am going to give you will make complete sense. When your brain tries to retrieve someone's name, it does not go directly to the name. It runs a 3-step process. First, it recognizes the face. Second, It accesses everything it knows about that person, who they are, what they mean to you, their role in your life, the history you share. Third, it attempts to retrieve the actual phonological form of the name, the syllables, the sounds, the sequence of letters. That third step, the retrieval of the sound of the name, is processed primarily in the anterior temporal cortex and the entorhinal cortex. And those are precisely the regions where tau accumulation begins earliest in the Alzheimer's continuum. This is why you can recognize a grandchild's face perfectly. It is why you feel everything that child means to you completely and without hesitation. And it is why the name still does not come, because the neurological road between who they are and what their name sounds like is where the first disruption appears. Burke and colleagues, publishing in the Journal of Memory and Language in 1991, established something foundational. Proper names are uniquely vulnerable to retrieval failure compared to common nouns because they have no semantic support. You can arrive at the word apple through fruit, through red, through tree, through pie. The semantic network around apple is dense and redundant. You cannot arrive at Emma through granddaughter. The name stands alone. There is no road in except the phonological one, and that road is the most vulnerable to age-related and tau-related disruption. Shafto and Tyler, publishing in Science in 2014, confirmed that structural changes in the arcuate fasciculus, the fiber tract that connects phonological retrieval regions, are directly associated with proper name retrieval decline in aging adults. The road exists, but it narrows. Here is the good news, and I want you to sit with this for a moment before we go into the protocol. The road can be maintained, it can be kept open, and research from 2024 shows it can even be rebuilt. Before the protocol, I need to ask you something, and I want a real answer in the comments. Have you ever mentioned this to your doctor, the difficulty with names, and heard the words, "It is just a normal part of aging"? Drop yes or no below, because I have a strong suspicion about how many people have sat in that office, mentioned this specific thing, and been sent home with nothing. And I want to know if I am right, because here is what the Wisconsin registry data shows. You can struggle consistently with proper name retrieval and still pass every standard cognitive screening your doctor administers. The sensitivity gap between what tau PT imaging detects and what a standard cognitive test catches is significant. Passing a cognitive screening and having a fully healthy name retrieval system are two completely different things. Most people have never been told that. You just were. Now, if what we are covering today matters to you, and you want the complete 30-day system that maps this practice day by day, not just the concept, but exactly what to do, when, and how to track your own progress, the complete resource is linked in the description and pinned in the first comment below. It includes the spaced retrieval schedule we are about to cover, the sleep protocol that consolidates name memories overnight, and the cortisol reduction plan that directly supports the entorhinal cortex. The link is there. Some things are worth protecting completely, not just partially. The names of the people you love most are exactly that kind of thing. Before we go into the protocol itself, a brief and important word. The 5-step practice I am about to describe involves cognitive exercise, sleep habits, and stress management. These are low-risk lifestyle interventions. However, if you are currently experiencing significant memory difficulties beyond name retrieval, confusion about time or place, difficulty recognizing familiar people, significant personality changes, or difficulty with tasks you have done for decades, please speak with a physician or geriatrician before using this protocol as a substitute for clinical evaluation. This practice supports brain health. It does not replace medical care. Work at a pace that feels right, and let's get into it. The protocol is built on a technique called spaced retrieval, and it has the strongest evidence base of any behavioral intervention tested for proper name recall. The principle is straightforward. You practice retrieving a name in progressively spaced intervals, just before the point for getting. Each successful retrieval, even a difficult one, strengthens the neural pathway between who that person is and what their name sounds like. Repetition of that retrieval spaced over time makes the pathway progressively more durable. Smith and colleagues, publishing in JMIR in 2024, tested an algorithmic spaced retrieval app in a study of 61 participants. Young adults, healthy older adults, and people with mild cognitive impairment due to Alzheimer's disease. After 4 weeks of practice, all 3 groups showed measurable improvement in name-face association recall. And after a pause of approximately 1 week with no practice, memory had not decayed. The learning held. In adults with early Alzheimer's, 80% adhered automatically to the app's schedule. That is not a small result. Here is how to do it. Step 1. Build the anchor list. This is the foundation. Done once, takes about 10 minutes. Why this matters? The brain retrieves names through imagery, not through logic. To strengthen the retrieval pathway for each name, you need a specific visual anchor, not a label like grandchild or neighbor, but an image that is vivid and personal enough to activate the semantic network around that person and give the phonological retrieval something to pull against. How to do it? Take a piece of paper, not a phone, paper, and write the names of your 10 to 15 most important people. Next to each name, write one specific visual detail. Not their role, not their relationship to you. One image. For your granddaughter Emma, the way her laugh sounds, the color of her hair, the thing she always says when she walks in the door. The more specific, the more effective. Specificity creates anchor depth. Depth creates retrieval strength. What to focus on? The anchors are not decoration. They are neurological scaffolding. When you later attempt to retrieve the name, you are going to activate the visual anchor first and let the semantic pathway pull the phonological name up through it. That sequence is the mechanism. The anchor list is what makes it possible. Progress tip. Review the anchor list every few months and update it. The anchors that work are the ones that remain vivid. If a detail has faded, replace it with a fresher one. The list should feel alive, not archived. That is step 1. Step 2. The morning practice. 5 minutes. Before any screen. Before coffee. Why this matters. Name retrieval is a skill, and like any skill, it is maintained through regular, deliberate practice. Morning is the optimal window because the prefrontal cortex, responsible for effortful retrieval, is at its sharpest after sleep and before the accumulated cognitive load of the day. Practicing retrieval in this window also allows the memories formed to consolidate during the following night's sleep, which is when proper name memories transfer to long-term storage. How to do it? Take your anchor list, or a set of photos of the people on it. Look at each face or name anchor. Try to retrieve the name before seeing it. Give yourself 10 seconds. If the name comes, say it aloud once and move to the next. If it does not come in 10 seconds, look at the name, say it aloud 3 times slowly, and then cover it again and try once more 30 seconds later. That attempt, check, repeat cycle is the core mechanism of spaced retrieval. Do this for every person on your list. At 5 names per minute, 15 names takes 3 minutes. Add a 2-minute review of the anchors that were hardest. That is your 5 minutes. What to focus on? The effort of retrieval is the medicine. Do not look at the name too quickly. The 10 seconds of attempt, even when the name does not come, is doing neurological work. You are stimulating the pathway even when the retrieval fails. The failure plus the correction plus the second attempt is exactly the sequence the brain needs to strengthen a weak road. Progress tip. Add a brief context to each retrieval. After saying the name, say one sentence about that person, where they live, something they love, something you did together recently. Adding semantic context to phonological retrieval deepens the pathway connection. That is one session. That is step 2. Before we go to step 3, here is a question I want you to think about and answer below. How many names are on your mental list right now? The people closest to you. The names that matter most. Drop the number in the comments. Not the names, just the number. I am curious whether people underestimate or overestimate how many truly important names they carry. Step 3. The spacing schedule. Why this matters. The power of spaced retrieval is not in any single session, it is in the intervals between sessions. Practicing too frequently reduces the difficulty of retrieval, and reduced difficulty means reduced neurological strengthening. Practicing at the right spacing, just before the memory would begin to fade, maximizes the consolidation effect of each session. How to do it. Week 1, practice every day. Week 2, every other day. Month 2, 3 times per week. Month 3 and beyond. 2 to 3 times per week for names that are solidly consolidated, daily for any names that still feel unstable. Each successful retrieval earned at the right interval is worth more than 10 retrievals done in rapid succession. What to focus on. Track which names are consistently easy and which remain effortful. The easy ones can be spaced further apart. The effortful ones need more frequent practice. A simple mark next to each name on the list, easy, moderate, effortful, tells you everything you need to know about scheduling. Progress tip. When a name becomes consistently easy at every retrieval, add a challenge. Try to retrieve it from the anchor alone, without the name list visible. Try to retrieve it while doing something else with part of your attention. Context switching during retrieval simulates the real-world conditions under which names are needed and trains the pathway for exactly those moments. That is step 3. Step 4. Sleep as consolidation. Why this matters. Spaced retrieval practice during waking hours begins the process, but the names you practice during the day are not fully transferred to long-term memory until you sleep, specifically until the slow-wave deep sleep stages that occur primarily in the first half of the night. Sleep is not the complement to the practice. Sleep is where the practice becomes permanent. Every night of fragmented or insufficient sleep is a night where fewer of the names you worked on are successfully consolidated. The practice and the sleep are one system, neither is optional. How to do it. Target 7 to 9 hours per night with a consistent sleep and wake time. The same time every day, including weekends. Keep your bedroom between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius, 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Eliminate screens 60 minutes before your target sleep time. These are not general wellness suggestions. They are direct interventions on the biological window in which proper name memories are transferred from working memory to long-term cortical storage. What to focus on? Consistency of timing matters more than total hours in isolation. A regular circadian rhythm preserves slow-wave sleep architecture. Irregular sleep timing fragments it, reducing the efficiency of the consolidation window even when total sleep time is adequate. Progress tip. On nights before your spaced retrieval practice sessions, prioritize sleep particularly. The consolidation of what you practiced the day before and the preparation of the retrieval system for the session ahead both depend on the quality of that night's sleep. That is step 4. Step 5. Reduce the cortisol that is suppressing the pathway. Why this matters? Chronically elevated cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, directly suppresses neural activity in the entorhinal cortex. The Stanford study found that tau accumulation in the entorhinal cortex was most strongly associated with name retrieval difficulties. Cortisol compounds the effect of tau by independently reducing the functional activity of the same region. You can practice retrieval every morning and sleep perfectly, and if your baseline cortisol is chronically elevated, you are working against a biochemical headwind every single day. How to do it. 30 minutes of moderate aerobic activity, brisk walking, cycling, swimming, 5 days per week. This is the single intervention with the largest documented effect on chronic cortisol reduction available to a person over 65 without a prescription. 5 minutes of slow nasal breathing before sleep, in for 4 seconds, out for 6 seconds, activates the vagal brake and reduces the cortisol spike that comes from a mind still working when the body is trying to rest. These two habits together address cortisol from both the day side and the night side. What to focus on? The morning walk and the sleep protocol from step 4 already exist in your plan. The breathing practice before sleep is an addition of 5 minutes to a routine you are already building. Layer them one at a time. Do not attempt all 5 steps simultaneously in week 1. The anchor list and morning practice come first. Sleep optimization comes second. The exercise and breathing come third. Consistency with 3 steps beats perfection with 5 steps that collapse after 2 weeks. Progress tip. Combine the morning walk with the sunlight exposure discussed in previous episodes. Morning light in the first 90 minutes of the day sets the cortisol rhythm for the entire day, beginning the descent earlier and reaching the nighttime baseline sooner. That earlier descent protects the entorhinal cortex through the afternoon and evening. That is step 5. That is the complete protocol. Now there is one more thing this research suggests, and it is not about what you do alone. It is about what you do with your family. The people who love you notice name retrieval difficulties before you do. A daughter who finishes sentences. A son who exchanges a look across the table. A grandchild who waits without saying anything while you find the word. If that has happened, and you have seen it, I want to ask you directly. Have you said anything? Has someone in your family noticed something before you named it yourself? Drop something in the comments. Not the details, just whether that moment of being noticed has happened, and whether it was spoken or stayed silent between you. Because what the research on cognitive reserve consistently shows is that social engagement, shared purpose, and the act of naming difficult things rather than hiding them are among the most powerful protective factors for brain health that science has documented. The conversation with your family is not just emotional. It is neurological. And one more thing, while we are on this, if this channel is giving you something useful, real science in language that actually lands, the single most effective way to support what we are building here is to share this video with one person who needs it, not a million people. 1. A sibling. A friend who mentioned something similar. A spouse. That share costs nothing and reaches exactly the person who should see it. This kind of content reaches people through people, and there is something fitting about that for an episode about the names that matter most. There was a moment, probably not long ago, when you said every name on your list without thinking, without effort, without that pause. That was not luck. That was a pathway that was being regularly used and maintained. Pathways that are used regularly do not disappear. They narrow, and the research tells us they can be widened back. Not overnight, not without effort, but measurably, progressively, and in ways that show up in the moments that matter most. The next time you hold your grandchild's hand and their name comes to you clearly, without hesitation, without that 3-second pause, you will know why. Because you practiced. Because you protected the pathway. Because you decided that the people you love most were worth 5 minutes every morning. The people who protect their memory most effectively are not always the ones who started the earliest. They are the ones who started when they understood why, and kept showing up, even on the mornings when it felt like nothing was changing. Because the consolidation happens at night, the pathway strengthens over weeks. And one day, the silence that used to last 5 seconds lasts 1. Here's to living life on your own terms. Now here is something I want you to do before you close this video. If we just talked about cortisol suppressing the entorhinal cortex, the exact brain region linked to name memory, then there is an episode you need to see. Because in the last video we released, we covered the other half of what cortisol does to a body over 60, how it destroys your energy by 3 in the afternoon, how the standard blood test misses the number that actually explains it, and the specific 45-minute morning window that determines your hormonal output for the entire rest of the day. That video connects directly to what we covered here today, because the morning cortisol decisions we talked about there are the same decisions that either protect or damage the brain region we just discussed. They are the same system, seen from 2 different angles. That video is on your screen right now. Watch it next. I promise you will see what we covered today in a completely different and more complete light. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like